Okay, so this video is going to be about macros and how to trade them. The God's honest truth on how to trade macros. And before I dive in, I want to say a lot of people, they're coming to their chart thinking about macros. They're not understanding any of the concepts. Everything went out the window when macros get put in the conversation. My trades sometimes align with macros depending on what model I'm using, and going to your charts only focused on macro setups is horrible, because if I ask you what macro is going to work, you don't know. So if I say, hey, what macro is going to work Monday, you're not going to know. You see the difference? So if you're on your chart and you don't know what macro is going to be there, essentially you're going to be sitting in your chart the whole session not knowing what macro to take, because you don't know anything after that. So when it comes to trading, and obviously the reason why we all got into trading, it has to do with obviously the money and time consuming and the best bang for your buck on your time. When you're sitting here for your whole session hoping to find a move, if you even get one off of MMXM, it's not, that's backwards. You know, you're spending more time on your chart when less is more, because you don't know what macro is going to work. You don't know if the AM session is going to work. You don't know if the PM session is going to work. These things are going to help you engage on when to be in your chart. So the first step to understanding how these macros are going to work is you need to know your opens, your equity open and your AM session open. You need to know your 7:30, 8:30, and 9:30. Those opens are going to set the stage for everything. Again, 7:30, 8:30, and 9:30 are going to set the stage for everything. Your silver bullet, it's going to set the stage for your macros, all of them. It's going to set the stage for where you need to be. But it goes back to your economic calendar. Your economic calendar is going to help you understand when you should be on your chart and what macro setups will work ahead of time if your opens do X, Y, and Z. These are things you have to study as traders. So you can see here, 8:30 drop lower, 9:30 drop lower. Your 950 to 1010 macro pulled back in the range off of a breaker. Boom. 1050 to 1110 macro. Order block. Fair value gap. Buy it. Imbalance here. 20 handles is right there. And price revisits that at a later time. So your opens, your 8:30, your 9:30, your 7:30, those literally set the stage for your macros. If you're coming to your chart, sitting there for the whole AM session, and then you're coming in there for the PM session, trading to you must be a joke or a hobby. You know, you're supposed to be a master in one, a specialist in one, and stay in one. You know, you can't come to your chart and trade both the sessions. Like, I don't care if you have the time. You're not trading like a business. There's a difference between trading like a business and trading like a hobby. If you're on both sessions looking for multiple setups after you've already lost or won, you're treating like a hobby. So your study to understand these macros, I'm pointing you to the economic calendar. I'm not going to sing and dance for you. I've already sung and danced for myself. But the economic calendar, study that. Study your opening prices and how your macros reacted if you're going to take a macro setup. But what I will say is this. Yeah, so I spoke about them in my live streams, but your opens are going to set the stage for the whole day. 7:30 is here, 8:30 is here, which is the AM session start, and then equities open, which is 9:30. Going further out into the AM session, your chances of a trade sort of decreases. You don't believe me? Go to ICT's executions, look at the times he's entering, and you'll see something. But I will say, the more you go out into the day, So starting from 730, the more you push out forward into this, you're decreasing your chances of a quality setup. So more about macros. We get our day done before. We try not to trade macros, but if we roll into them, we roll into them if we need them. And there's never a time where we need to trade anything, but this is the truth on how you trade macros. You have to study your opens because they set the stage for what macros are activated to work. This is the NFP move that I see a lot of people posting about with their R to R tool like this. Nowhere do I see an entry or an exit. I just see this, like they took it. Here it is. Let's take it back here. Just another small example. Let's check the times on this. 8:30 is here. So I really try to get my day done before the day starts. While everyone's coming to the chart when it's like this, we're clocking out. You know, we're clocking out when you guys are clocking in. And that has to do with your economic calendar. Okay? Study your economic calendar. That's going to lead you to these things. What macro is going to work? What's a high probability condition? What's a low probability condition? And do you see a bunch of trades on my chart? You don't. You know, one and done, clean, smooth runs. I set my alarms to these things. You know, these things happen very frequent. When you can understand a model that consistently yields you and delivers, you won't be trading both sessions. You don't care. I can look at the economic calendar next week, see what days I want to be there and set my alarm. You know, it's not as stressful as people make it is. And trading is not, it is stressful in the beginning, but once you pass that barrier of how hard it is, you realize how simple it is. And before everyone runs to the comment section, oh, you're not teaching, blah, 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 blah. Dude, my students would smoke you. So it has nothing to do with my teaching. I'm pointing you in a direction your own mentor wouldn't even point you in. They don't know anything about this stuff. I do get asked a question pretty frequent, and I want to touch upon it here. So looking at this, ignore that. But is there a breakdown of the ReVamp course? What are some concepts and topics covered? It's not that important. I will say the only thing I talk about is time and price and how to identify when you should be at your chart and just show consistency. That's about it. The ReVamp, that's what it's really focused on. And while I'm here, this was another NFP trade. This wasn't this month, this was last, I believe. As you can see here, 8:30 short, TP, right? No, got hit again. Look, 8:30 is here, 9:30 is there. We're long. TP's right there. Remember this fair value gap. Okay, so this was the long fair value gap here. Was engaged. Change in state, order block. Nowhere do you hear me talking about macros. One contract short down to this level here. Okay, it gave me another entry off the fair value gap. Two contracts short, and you want to see if my stop loss get hit, which it didn't. Go back and you'll see what price did. But I'm sure you can assume it hit my take profit. We'll head over to my server. And I'm just going to show you guys some things. I'm proud of you guys, bro. And how we know these concepts work is because we're in the same trades as ICT. I have charter members in here. They show me his executions. We look at mine. They're the same. This is just him happening to go public one time and showing it. But there's a lot of times, and I'm not going to disclose who's charter and who's not because there's multiple in here. But I do get sent messages on when he is taking his trade in his Telegram after the fact. And then we look at mine, and it's the same stuff because we're using the same logic. So here is his NFP trade that he went short. And look, the guys in there went short too. Nice job, Greg. Good shorts off that FEG. Here's mine. Nice job, Harley. Good job, Christian. Everyone's operating off the same logic, and that's what the revamp really covers is time and price. Time and price. Time and price. It's all there. So back to macros. What macro do you trade? It has a lot to do with your opens. Are your opens setting up the stage? Look, you see this? 10-10. This is a macro setup. 5 cons, sold 5 right here. See that breaker? FEG, sell side. Your opens set the stage to if your macros are going to get hit or not. Authentication on that trade. Guys are in it as well. And this could just keep going on. If I just hold this like this and just stop somewhere, I'm sure you'll see everybody crushing it. But really, that's what this revamp covers is time and priced elements. And here is the Valentine's Day discount. Original price knocked off. The benefits for everyone asking. The things covered I've already discussed, but there it is.